Hi everyone, I'm here today thanks to Sloan. My name's Heather Tate. I'm with HD Custom Designs and we're going to install the Sloan pressure assisted toilet today. So the first step is installing T-bolts or closet bolts. These go into the closet flange where the toilet attaches to. As we install these, this little plastic washer clips down over the T-bolt and connects up to the closet flange. Now that those T-bolts are in place, you want to make sure that as you set a toilet that you've got the correct measurements. A standard toilet measures out at 12 inches from the wall to where your T-bolts install on the closet flange. This is right at 12 inches. There are two other toilets that can be installed, a 10-inch or a 14-inch, just depending on where your T-bolts fall. Next, installing a toilet, you'll make sure that your closet flange is a little above the tile or right at the tile. This one, as you can see with the level, sits right at the tile. Great, now we've got the toilet bowl on the floor. I've got it protected with a blanket so that you don't scratch the tile or that you don't damage the ceramic of the bowl. I'm going to take your wax ring. I've just got a standard wax ring here. There are a lot of different types of wax rings. You can get, this is standard, you can get an extra thick wax ring, or you can get rubber gaskets instead of wax rings. I'm just going to use a standard one where my toilet flange is in the correct spot. Okay, before taking the wax ring out of the plastic seal, I like to put on rubber gloves. As I take off the plastic ring, you can see that this wax ring has a plastic flange in it. That plastic flange, the small side of that plastic flange, goes away from the toilet. The wide goes towards the toilet. I'm just lightly pressing on that wax ring so it sticks to the toilet bowl. Okay, now that I've got the wax ring in place, I'm going to pick the bowl up, gently turn it around, and as I go to get this, make sure the wax ring doesn't touch the ground. Alright, I'm going to set this toilet. If you watch the T-bolts, okay, I've got the toilet lined up over the T-bolts. You're going to look through the holes and make sure that you're setting that toilet down on the toilet flange and that your T-bolts come through the holes. I haven't pressed it down at all yet. I've just lightly set it there. Now I'm going to come in, line the toilet up so that it's about straight and even on both sides, and I'm going to press down. As I press down, I'm going to make sure that the toilet sits level on the tile on both sides. Once you've got the toilet bowl in place and the wax ring is sealed, make sure that you don't lift that bowl up or wiggle it at all. It'll break the wax seal and you'll have to start this process all over again. Now we're going to place the plastic bolt caps, bases, the washers, and the nuts onto the T-bolts. Make sure that the plastic bolt cap bases say this side up before installing. Okay, now I've got the plastic bolt cap base, the washer, and the nut. I'm going to just hand tighten that to begin with. I'm going to do it on the alternating side as well. All right, I'm installing it on the alternating side, all three components. going to hand tighten it first. Now they're both hand tightened. I'm going to take an adjustable wrench. This is the adjustable wrench I'm going to use. The adjustable wrench I'm going to use on alternating sides. As I alternate sides, I'm alternating sides not to over tighten these bolts so that you don't crack the porcelain. So I've done 3 or 4 turns on this side. I'm going to alternate over to the opposite side and do 3 or 4 turns on that side. All right, so now I'm going to switch back to the other side. Tighten down a couple more times on the other side. Be sure as you're tightening that you're not bumping the tank or bumping the bowl of the toilet at all, so that that wax seal stays firm. Perfect, I've got those tightened down. Great, now that we've got the bolts tightened, we're gonna take the caps and put them on top of the bolt cap base. All right, now your bolt caps are in place. We'll move on to installing the tank next. All right, now I'm going to install the tank gasket onto the tank. Make sure that when you install the tank gasket that you cover this nut so that it's all protected. All right, now that your gasket's in place, I'm going to turn the tank bowl or the tank right side up and set it on top of the bowl. There are 3 bolts. You need to make sure they line up with the holes on the bowl. All right, this is a pressure assisted toilet. So if you look inside the tank, you can see the black tank inside the tank. This is not common, but this is what Sloan makes, is the pressurized tanks. All right, these are the 3 components that go onto the bolts from the tank. You've got the washer, the plastic washer, and the nut. So I'm going to pick one of those up. The plastic washer goes on first, then the metal washer, and then the nut tightens down on top of the metal washer. All right, so I'm going to place these 3 pieces onto each bolt. All right, so I'm going to tighten the bolt on this side. And I'm going to alternate over to the other side. And now I'm putting the last nut on the back of the tank. This tank has 3 bolts. Most tanks have 2. So this is a little bit different than a different type of toilet. The Sloan has 3 bolts instead of 2. Alright, so you want to make sure that your toilet is level. So to do that, we just give it a slight rock. This one tends to rock just a tiny bit. We're going to take a wedge, a toilet wedge, and put it in the back of the toilet. Okay, now that that wedge is in place, there's no more rocking on that toilet, so your toilet's leveled. At this point, there are a couple of things that you can do. A lot of the time, plumbers caulk around toilets. We choose not to caulk around toilets just in case there's a leak. But if you wanted to, you can caulk this little gap right here. This doesn't have a gap at all, but you can caulk that gap if there's a big gap from leveling. Okay, we're going to use this oscillating tool right here to cut off the rest of the wedge that didn't go underneath the toilet. So we'll do that now. So next we're going to connect the water supply to the toilet. It's already connected to the supply that comes out of the wall. Now we're going to take the hose that connects up to the tank and only hand tighten this. If you do it tighter than hand tight, then you're going to cause problems with the flush valve inside the tank. So now that's hand tightened. We've got both sides connected. I'm going to turn on the water. So the toilet is now being filled. The tank will fill first and the bowl will fill. On this one you won't see the water inside the tank. You'll only see it fill inside the bowl. So the water's full. We're going to flush it for the first time, and you can see how a pressure-assisted toilet flushes. Alright, now we're going to install the tank lid. Tank lid sets down nice and tight on the toilet. The last thing we're going to do is install the toilet seat. I've already lifted the clips. You've got 2 holes, just to line those 2 holes up with the toilet holes. Put your bolts down, make sure that your washers are on top, and then clamp in the underneath bolt. I'm going to screw it down just to tighten it up. You want to make sure those washers sit inside the ring on the toilet seat. Mine slipped out a little bit. There we go. Line that up, make sure it's straight. It's straight all the way around. Clamp those down, and the toilet's installed. And that's how we install a toilet. All right, and there's your finished product with your toilet installed. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Have a great day.